I come before you as a Texan that would like to say that we all share much in common. And I'm very concerned about where we are going in our state. And for the inability to use a lesser term, I must say that it is clear that the legislation before you that you're now considering, SB1, is anti-black and anti-brown.
Has there been a disparate impact study done to determine the impact it has on minority voters? On the face of it, it could be race neutral, but the question becomes whether or not in the application of it, whether it has a disparate impact on minority voters.
Well, Senator, I don't know of any study. I know throughout the process, as objections have been raised based on the impact to different communities, there's been a debate, and in many times provisions have been removed or have been amended to address those concerns. There will be some matters that people just disagree over.
Some of the things in the bill in reference to disable the community are really pretty shocking and disappointing that they would actually be included in a piece of legislation.
People with disabilities require a little additional support, and for me, that might look like being able to use a stamp or an electronic signature to verify my identity. In my second election that I voted in, I voted by mail. I submitted my signature, which unfortunately is never exactly the same. And about 6 months later, I got a letter letting me know that my ballot was discounted because of my signature.
I think that what's occurring here with poll watchers is really disappointing because the poll watchers are empowered to such an extent they become overseers like on a plantation, and they're sent out more to watch and see what the slaves are doing on the plantation.
Well, let me give you some information.
Yes, ma'am.
I had a poll watcher come and stand behind me. And normally in an African-American area and Hispanic areas, when they send poll watchers to our areas, they always send people that look like the Proud Boys into our communities. And they walk behind you and look just like they finna kick your rear end if you just move out of place, and they make you nervous. They make some people nervous.
Okay.
And this particular lady came and she stood behind me, and I politely turned around and asked her what did she want. And she looked at me and I looked at her, and I stood my ground because I didn't think that she needed to come and stand behind me while I cast my vote. Number one, I could read. I didn't have any need for assistance by anyone, and I definitely didn't need her to come stand near me. And what she was trying to do, or probably had been doing, I'm assuming from her conduct with me, that she had been intimidating those African-American persons and those Hispanic-American persons coming into that precinct trying to cast their vote by the mere presence of her nationality, her ethnicity, Anglo, looking mean, you know.
In my district, House District 105, which is Irving and Grand Prairie, we had voter intimidation too, kind of like what Dean Thompson talked about, except hers happened inside the polling place. In my race, it happened out on the parking lot. We actually had operatives of the opposing candidate who was running people's license plates and then telling them, I know where you live.
You said there's a trade-off between having those eyes and ears and those poll watchers, and I applaud you for training people and giving them a quiz and making sure they know the law. But here's the problem with this legislation that I find. There's also a trade-off with disenfranchising people like that young lady that was in the wheelchair, or other people who are blind, or other people who may find the difficulty. Do we pay a price by passing laws that may disenfranchise those who may find it as easy as you and I to go vote?
I appreciate all the members and our witnesses' attention to the important testimony that we've heard today. As stated at the beginning of the hearing, we're in a special session and we're operating, as you all know, on a very compressed timeline. It is my intent to take a vote on reporting House Bill 3 at this time. The chair moves that House Bill 3 be reported favorably to the full House with the recommendation that it do pass and be printed and be sent to the general calendar. Clerk will call the roll.
Chairman Ashby,
Aye.
Vice Chair Thompson. No. Busey. No. Clardy. Aye. Garin. Yes. Deton. Aye. Johnson. No. Click. Aye. Landgraf. Aye. Lozano. Aye. Longoria. Moody. Niave. Nay. Shaheen.
Aye.
White.
Yes.
Members, there being 9 ayes and 5 nays, the motion prevails.